Hey everyone, welcome back. If you've been following along with my videos, then you now at least should have a basic understanding of square Turk's head knots. That is where the bights and parts are only different from each other by one, such as a 4-bight 5-part knot. This one happens to have a herringbone interweave. Then there's the 6-bight knot, which is just the expanded version of this and interwoven with a different color. So these are essentially the same exact knot, just this one is expanded from this one. Alright. But what if you want a knot that's a little bit longer? Say you wanted to cover the whole handle of your fid, or something as long as my mandrel here. Well, you can still do that. And it's done basically the same way. They're really simple, just the way you started is a little bit different. So what I'm going to show you today is basically how to tie a 4-bight knot for all occasions. Okay? So I'm going to introduce you to a new term that I use. I don't know how canon it is in the knot tying world, but I call it turns. The number of turns a knot has. Both of those knots that I showed you a moment ago were 1-turn knots. And you can go 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, however many you want turns. So obviously a 1-turn knot, that's what I've been showing you, is over, over, and over. That's how it starts for a 4-bight knot. Alright, to do a 1.5 turn, or what I call a 1.5 turn, it starts off with an over. Your bight actually forms on top right here. Then this is the second over. Coming around, I'm sorry I'm covering it up, but I'm trying to hold it all together here so the camera can see. And then your third over forms the bight on the back next to your standing end, coming over and then exiting the knot here. So this begins to form your second bight. Okay? And then you would start by going back underneath the bight here and creating the over one under one pattern, and it expands the same way as any other 4-bight knot does, as the square knots do. Let me show you how a 2-turn knot starts off. So it's the same thing, except both bights form on the back side of the mandrel. So over, that's the first over, over, that's the second over. And now if you turn it over, you can see that both bights have formed on the back side. This is the third over. And you're just crossing everything, and make sure you're coming up just like this. And then you start back into the knot. Okay? So a knot with an even number of turns, the initial bights will form on the back side of your mandrel as you're looking at it. A knot with a half turn, like a 1.5 or a 2.5 or a 3.5, will form with 1 bight on top and 1 bight on the bottom. Okay? The only difference it makes is the length of the knot, because it adds parts to it. So you're still going to come with a 4-bight knot, you're just going to have more parts, so it's going to be longer this way. Alright, so let me finish tying. I'll start off with a 2-turn knot. So, but if you do a 1.5 turn or even a 3-turn, it's going to be tied the same way. These principles still apply the same. So over the first one, over the second one, over third time. Alright, so that's a 2-turn knot. Both bights are on the back side. And we're going to come back into the knot right here. Now a lot of this is the same as tying a square knot, a 4-bight 5-part Turk's head. There's a couple of minor differences though, and I'll show you them when we get to them. So we're coming over 1, under 1, just like you would on any other knot, because right now you're tying a 2-bight knot. So over this one, under this one, exiting the knot on the left side over, like so, and coming up next to your standing end. Alright, so we now have a completed 2-turn, 2-bight Turk's head. Not sure how many parts this is. Looks like 7. Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 7 parts. Alright. So now we're going to begin an expansion pass to make this a 4-bight knot. Excuse me for a minute while I untangle my line here. Okay. So beginning an expansion pass, just like all the other knots, you follow your standing end and you pair it up through the knot. Everywhere it goes over, we go over. Everywhere it goes under, we go under. Okay, following along. Following it up and out of the knot. And again, this is the first half of an expansion pass. We exit it over, we're going to enter over, and coming right back in to pair this one right here. You're always pairing the one ahead of your working end as you're looking at it this direction. Same principles for all these knots apply. Okay, so we've got our bight that goes over, and we created one that goes under, right here, under and under. Now here is where it's a little bit different from tying a square Turk's head. You can see we've come to this pair right here. Well, we're doing an expansion pass, not an interweave pass. So on an expansion pass, if you remember from my other videos, you only split pairs lengthwise. Okay, so because we're coming into it perpendicular, we're just going to cross over top of it, just like that. And if you forget that rule, just look at where this one is. It crosses over both of them. So we're going to cross over both of them with our working end. Okay, continuing on. Got another pair we're just going to cross right there. We're going to exit the knot on the left side with an over, just like so. And we're going to come back in, starting the second half of the expansion pass. Now we're splitting pairs, and we're doing it lengthwise. We're going to follow these right up the middle. We're going to split these two right here, just like that. And again, we've formed a bight that goes over on this side. Don't forget that. Okay, we're going to cross this pair here because it's perpendicular to the direction of our work, and continue up in between the pair that we've been working on, splitting it here by going under. We're going to cross this pair because it's perpendicular, split this one right here, and exit the knot going over on the right side. Now we got to find our bight that's under so we can tie it in, and it's right there. So we'll come underneath it right here. And that forms our fourth bight. If we were to follow this around, 1, 2, 3, 4. Space this back out so we can see what we're doing. Okay. Now it's going to look a little squirrely because I'm tying this knot pretty loose. I'm actually going to use it for another demonstration video after this. But anyway, you want to split this pair running long ways by going over where you need to and under where you need to. Should be fairly obvious, but it's just an over one, under one pattern, and this will complete the knot. This is our last run through the knot right here. Alright everybody, I'm sorry the video cut off at the end there. I'm finding out that my camera only records for 10 minutes and that's it. I can't change it. So hopefully you were able to finish the knot. It was just the last run that's right here. Just make sure that your whole knot has an over one, under one pattern and that you got that final bight coming up next to the standing end to have a completed knot. So you have 4 bights on each side and the knot should be nice and even. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit on a herringbone interweave pattern on this knot because it's really similar to doing a square knot, but there's a couple of things that might trip you up and I just want to cover them. So we'll start off just like any other on the right side of our standing end because we're doing herringbone this time. And we're just going to follow it, pair it all the way up through the knot. And really, if you're just learning how to do these interweave patterns, I highly recommend that you use another color because it'll show you which one is your interweave and which one is your base knot. And it's a lot easier to figure out when you're going to split pairs. I'm doing it with the same color because, like I said, this knot's going to be used for a demonstration after this on the multiple color interweaves. So stay tuned for that one. Alright. So I didn't mention it, but I went under this X right here. So you want to follow it all the way up to the last X before the bights. Don't cross this X right here. Don't try to go underneath that one, or this one, or that one for that matter. You want to stay inside the bights on these crosses right here. Okay. So I went under this cross, and I'm going to come back down following this one to make a pair. Always following the one forward of your working end for a herringbone. Gaucho is a little different. And we just hit our first pair. So the way to look at this I just know from experience, but if you're using a different color you'll be able to see this real easily. This is our new interweave. Okay, this is the one we just put in there. This is the base knot right here. So if you get stuck on trying to figure out how to split this pair, look at your original base knot parts. Okay, as I came under this one, the next thing I need to do is go over this one, and if I'm going over this one I want to go under the next one, right? So look at the base knot part, and that's how you're going to cross your interweave part. So I'm going to go over this one and over this one and under this one. So essentially what you're doing is you're maintaining the over one, under one pattern within the base knot. And your interweave is going to have an over one, under one pattern as well. But when the two are overlaid on top of one another, you get an over two, under two pattern like this. Okay? So that's how you figure out how to split a pair. The other way is to just go ahead and split it and then take a look at it, and if it forms this herringbone pattern, you've done it correctly. Alright, so continuing on through this knot, same thing here. This is my interweave, this is my base knot, and this is my base knot. I'm crossing over this one, which means I need to go under this one, so I'm going to go over my interweave pattern. So you're going over two and under one. That's what I talk when I'm talking about learning how the knot is formed and not just the sequence. Okay, it's vitally important to me that you learn that, as opposed to me just sitting here telling you to go over one, over two, under one, and so on and so forth. This is how you get proficient. Now this one I'm doing wrong, so you can see. No, I'm not doing it wrong. Okay, I just lied to you. Here's what it'll look like if you do it wrong. Say I went over this one, then tried to go under this one and split this one by going over two. That's what it'll look like when it's wrong. See how it's starting to get a gaucho pattern right there? Muscle memory kind of bit me there. It's hard to do it wrong on purpose. Anyway, I know I'm going a little fast. I'm trying to get this knot complete so that I can use it for my next video. But I hope you got the basics down of how to do this interweave. If you actually need more info on doing this interweave, I can upload another full video on doing an interweave just on this knot or any other long knot. If you need it, leave me a comment. If you don't, great. Thanks for watching.